Hello, and welcome to John's Non Sequitur. I'm making a big one today. I'm going to attempt to take on anti-vaxxers. Now, something that I need to get, put out there right away is that this is a fight that has gotten literally nowhere. When you tell the people who do not think that vaccination is a good thing, or in fact think it's bad for you, the scientific facts that back up your ideas, this is one of the biggest triggers of the backfire effect that I can think of. You give these people facts, they say these are my kids, my beliefs, but what beliefs are they? I don't understand where they're getting their information from. Alternative sources, I guess. Let me run down some of the things that anti-vaxxers use in their arguments. There was once a study that suggested that there was a link between this and autism. This came from a guy named Dr. Andrew Wakefield, but he lied. And then he was fired. This was in 1998. So there was one, but he was fired, but yet people still cling to the fact that it happened once, so it must be true, ignoring the fact that the guy who said it lied about it. Look, in the 90s, when there was that school shooting, and there was like a rash of school shootings, people blamed it on Marilyn Manson because the people were listening to Marilyn Manson. But at the same time, I'm sure there's been a lot of shootings that took place right after SpongeBob SquarePants, or right after Dr. Phil, or right after Beavis and Butthead, or right after any show on TV, The Bachelor, any show. You don't see people correlating those two things. But with this particular thing, if somebody gets an immunization, then is diagnosed with autism, they never look at what else could have caused the problem. They only look at, oh, that's right, I heard somewhere that immunizations equal autism. It's just not the case. There's no documented case of this happening. There just isn't. However, another argument they like to throw out is that there's no proof that they don't cause autism. Well, if you know anything about science, you can't prove a negative. You shouldn't have to prove a negative. If it doesn't happen, then why do you have to prove that it doesn't happen? It just doesn't. There's also people who think that the immunizations can overload a child's immune system. There's no evidence of this either. In fact, there's been doctors who have said that kids are exposed to more stuff in nature than they are from immunizations, like every day, than all of their vaccinations combined. Where am I getting this information from? Dr. Laurel Schultz, who's a San Francisco-based pediatrician. Now, do I trust a doctor who works with kids for a living, or do I trust a movie star who is anti-government? Look, I don't like the government because I know they're a bunch of liars, but I really don't think they're trying to kill us. And they're not all liars. Okay, they're all liars. But they're not trying to kill us. I just can't see them purposely trying to kill or weaken our children. It wouldn't, what good would that do? Vaccine-acquired immunity comes without the dangers of an infection, It helps the body kill the infection rather than invite it in and then fight it off on its own. These things are medicine. They're to help people from not getting sick. They almost took out a lot of diseases, and now they're starting to come back because kids just flat out aren't getting the shots. And even if a parent is like, hey, it's my business whether or not my kid gets a shot or not, well, that's fine if it's your business, but keep your kid away from other kids who got the shot or who haven't got it but want to get it, because you're going to get them sick. If your kid who isn't protected against something gets it, he can give it to somebody else. It seems to me that this is a movement where people are just trying to seem smarter than other people. It's not a movement of... Parents, God, why parents? Parents blow my mind. I am a parent. I am a parent, And I listen to what other people say about things such as getting beat when they were kids, or being sick when they were kids, or all these other things. Oh, we didn't do that and we survived. We're kind of stupid. The people my age aren't like geniuses. We're morons. All of us. We're not smart. And we didn't turn out okay. But we seem to think that we did somehow, and I don't understand how we think that. And we think that our parents' methods and their parents' methods are better than ones today. And that's fine, except that we got immunized. So, how can you think that your parents' ways and their parents' ways were better in every other detail except for immunization, the one thing that they did do to keep us safe? That's all they did to keep us safe. They would beat the shit out of us, but we got our shots so we didn't die. You're more like, I'm not going to be the one that physically kills them. I'll let a disease do it. I happen to know somebody whose relative was affected by something called transverse myelitis, which is a rare clinical syndrome in which the immune-mediated process causes neural injury to the spinal cord. But this is, if I'm reading this correctly, the incidence of this is estimated to be up to 5 cases per million a year. But the pathogenesis of this is an autoimmune nature, where TM presents as an isolated disorder or as part of a systematic disease. In other words, this is something that is in somebody already. The immunization triggers it, but it's something that was going to happen anyway. So it's not like they didn't have it and then the immunization happened and now they have it. Triggered, I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this who are anti-vaxxers are very triggered. And listen, the way to get a point across to you is not to scream at you and tell you that you're wrong and tell you that you have no evidence whatsoever and that there's never been any documented case of any kind of disease coming from immunizations, and that most of your information is coming from websites that come and go and just disappear and reappear on the internet, that you're not going to listen. You've made up your mind. And that's that's okay, I guess, even though your kids run the risk of getting sick. But what I would recommend is don't let your kids go near any other kids. You ever see that Seinfeld episode with the bubble boy? By the way, chickenpox. I was asked to look into this. Do we need chickenpox immunization? Yes, we do. But these people shouldn't get it, okay? People should not get chickenpox vaccine if they have ever had a life-threatening allergic reaction to a previous dose of chickenpox vaccine or any component of the vaccine, including gelatin or the antibiotic neomycin. People who are moderately or severely ill at the time of the shot is scheduled should usually wait until they recover before getting chickenpox vaccine. Pregnant women should not get it. People with the following conditions should check with their doctor: HIV and AIDS, being treated for drugs that affect the immune system such as steroids, any kind of cancer or getting cancer treatment, and any person who has recently had a transfusion or were given blood products should ask their doctor whether to get it. And that's it. And this is according to the CDC, which I trust. Now, are they run by pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, I guess. It's tough, because I can't disagree that pharmaceutical companies are in it for money. I had a doctor who, every time I would go to his waiting room, he would have 1 or 2 drug reps in there every single time looking to sell him some other drug. And we all know how it works. They sell the drugs to the doctors. The doctors go on these fabulous vacations and trips that are paid for by the pharmaceutical companies to push these things. We get commercials. We're the only country in the world that get these commercials that tell us something's wrong with you. Ask your doctor, they'll give you some pills. Well, this particular doctor of mine got these weight loss pills, and then proceeded to tell my wife that she was fat and she needed to lose weight, so he gave her those pills. So doctors recommend that you get vaccinations. The CDC recommends that you get vaccinations. People with kids who have vaccinations recommend you get vaccinations. These are the people who recommend you don't get vaccinations. Adam Baldwin, Tony Braxton, Alex Jones, who's a lunatic, Jenny McCarthy, Rob Schneider, Charlie Sheen, Donald Trump, Alicia Silverstone, the Taliban, InfoWars, and Christian Science. A lot of parents, too, like to use religion as a reason why they aren't allowed to do immunization, but there's nothing in that book at all about immunizations, because when that book was written, there weren't any immunizations. Don't listen to internet sites that just pop up and disappear. Don't listen to random Facebook groups that are like mysterious and have no scientific evidence. And don't listen to doctors who got fired. If you're really, really concerned, do the research yourself. You'll see that everything, credible anyway, points to getting your kids immunized. We've, as a species, although we can't get past ourselves, have fought everything else that nature has thrown at us, and we've pretty much defeated it. We should all be dead at about 30, but we live into our 60s and 70s and 80s because we fight these diseases. And this anti-vaccination thing is just going to cause regression. It's going to throw away all that we've ever done and cause a lot of kids to die unnecessary deaths and get really, really sick. But you don't have to listen to me. I run a horror podcast. What do I know? See you later.